Hi, my name is Abby Linville, and this is my Module 12 case study for EDL 852. So, this case is about a fast-growing rural community that has decided to build a new middle school after a lot of consideration. The district enrollment in the school district has increased by 2% each year for the last 25 years. They currently have an elementary school building that holds and houses students from kindergarten through 6th grade, and a secondary building that houses students from 7th grade through 12th grade. The community did not anticipate or plan on adding another school for many years. So it came as a shock to a lot of community members that a new school was needing to be built. So the district brought in an outside firm that could explore their options for increasing space so that they could fit all of the students comfortably in the school. They presented the district with three options. The first was to build an addition to the existing secondary school and move the 6th grade out of the elementary building and put it in with the secondary. They could also the second choice was building on additions to both of the existing schools. And the last one was to build a new middle school, and that middle school would house the students from 6th grade through 8th grade. So the firm that came up with all of these options and possibilities strongly recommended option 3. The community was not as easy to take with that. So they asked the community for feedback, and they were very split. And after much discussion, the superintendent endorsed option 3. They discussed it as a community, and they got input from the community and took a vote. And the vote was very close. So when it was voted on, it was approved with a margin of 53 to 47, which is incredibly close. The school board decided to approve it and go through with building the new middle school, but I think it's important to note in this case study that the community was not 100% on board with it, and that should be noted and considered in all aspects of everything. So after deciding to build the middle school, they needed to hire a principal. So after doing a thorough search, they hired a principal named Susan Potter. She is currently a vice principal in a middle school in the suburban district. But they decided to bring her in a year ahead of the opening of the middle school. So during this year, she is going to be assigned some tasks to help prepare for the school opening. And one of her first tasks was to start to work on getting the school programs and curriculum programs and their philosophy, school mission, and vision put together. So the first decision one of the first decisions that the new principal, Principal Potter, decided to do was to create an advisory committee that she called the Visioning and Planning Committee. And with the help and support of the superintendent and the school board, she comprised a team of community stakeholders. And on that team, the Visioning and Planning Committee, she has 4 teachers and 4 parents from the community. At the first meeting with the advisory committee, Principal Potter communicated to them that she did not want to chair the committee, that she wanted them to do that because one of the teachers or the community members to be the chair. She really believes in sharing responsibilities, especially with the teachers in her building, and wants them to she values everybody's inputs and viewpoints and our inputs and viewpoints, and that she really wants to have that shared responsibility. The committee was a little hesitant on this, but after listening to her, they decided that that would be okay. And one of the middle school teachers, a teacher named Helen, decided to become the chair of the committee. So after that meeting took place and they identified Helen as the chair, Principal Potter and Helen met separately, just the two of them together. And at that meeting, Helen expressed that she believed that Principal Potter could create the school philosophy, mission, and vision and draft that on her own without the input of the committee. She encouraged Principal Potter to do that and then just to bring her creation and that the committee would help her get it passed by the board. Principal Potter said, she was thankful that they valued her and trusted her that much, but she expressed to Helen that she really would like to have the input of the committee because she doesn't know the community and their values and priorities as well as the committee members would, and she really valued their input and would like to do it with them. And Helen then told her that she had spoken to her brother who was on the school board, and he also felt that she could do that as well, and that he viewed her as a visionary leader and that thought that she could handle it on her own. Again, Principal Potter reiterated that she really valued their input and that she didn't want to just push something forward. She wanted to do it as a team and as a committee. So they left that meeting and went to the next committee meeting. And Helen, the committee chair, then shared with the rest of the committee members the conversation that she and Principal Potter had had. And several committee members supported Helen's viewpoint and shared and expressed that they shared that same feeling, that they felt like they didn't have enough time, that they would spend too much time debating over the philosophy, mission, and vision, that they wouldn't get to other key important things before the school opened, and that they wanted to push forward. Principal Potter was given the opportunity to share what her vision was for creating the philosophy, mission, and vision and what process she wanted to take. After she did that, they still expressed that they felt like she should do it on their own, that she was an expert and that they viewed her as an expert and wanted her to do it independent of them, and that they would just support her in that. And so after going back and forth and her sharing her feelings, one of the committee members put it as a motion to vote, and that they then decided to vote, and the committee voted that Principal Potter would do it on her own. It's important to note that at the start of the committee being built, that Principal Potter said that she would like it to operate democratically, but she would like for it to, hopefully all decisions to be reached through a consensus if it could. Unfortunately, when they brought it to a vote, it didn't match what Principal Potter's values and beliefs were. When they left the meeting and they had decided that Principal Potter would be drafting the philosophy, mission, and vision on her own, Helen told Principal Potter to not feel discouraged and that they really do trust her to lead. So there are no legal issues and no harm has been done. I think it's important to note, though, that the committee did agree to operate democratically if a consensus could not be reached. And I think it's also important to note that Principal Potter really values collaboration when it comes to developing a school mission and vision and philosophy. And moving forward with having her draft that independently would be asking her to compromise her beliefs and her values going forward. So I think that those are some things that need to be considered when looking at finding an outcome to solve this issue. So here, if you kind of summarize what the situation is and what the problem is that the members of the Visioning and Planning Committee and the school principal do not share the same beliefs about what is the best way to develop a school philosophy, mission, and vision. So here are the known facts. This is what we know. We're looking at creating a school philosophy, mission, and vision for a public middle school in a rural community that is fast growing and changing. We know that Helen, the committee chair, and the committee members view the principal as an expert, and I think that they really respect her expertise. And they trust her judgment. They're trusting her to create this philosophy and mission and vision on her own, so that shows that they do trust her and value her expertise. Principal Potter, on the other hand, values collaboration and community input and sees that as extremely important. She wants the mission and vision to match the community's values and beliefs. We know that at least one school board member has knowledge of the situation, and after the vote, it was apparent that the community was divided about whether or not to even build the middle school. So, due to the fact that the community, though, was allowed to give that input on whether or not they wanted to build the middle school, I think it shows that the district values community input as well. There are some things that are still unknown. Right now, we don't know what the values and beliefs of the community are and what they really would like to see from the middle school and what they would like to be in the mission and vision and philosophy of the school. We don't know what the superintendent's views on how a vision and mission should be created in a school. We also don't know what is the visioning and planning committee members' view of their role on this committee and in the school or at large. So I think it would be interesting to see what role they would like to play and what they thought their role would be on this committee when they were asked to be on it. I think it's also important to consider, is the growth of the school going to continue, or is this community going to continue to be fast growing? And I also think it would be important to ask the principals that are currently at the elementary building and the secondary building how they created their philosophy, mission, and vision when those schools were open years ago as well. So the conflict has the potential to create a larger divide in the community and could flare up issues with those who are already uneasy about creating a new middle school. The philosophy, mission, and vision will guide the goals of the school for several years and need to reflect the values of the whole community. The principal needs to know the priorities and values of all of the stakeholders, and the visioning and planning committee needs to be comprised, or the visioning and planning committee that was created with a group of people who are viewed as leaders in the district. So the relationship between them and the principal should be preserved. So when looking through some possible options, I identified 4 that I think should be considered. The first is to create the mission and vision independently. So that means that the principal would create it on their own. The second would be to complete the mission and vision with a new group of community members. So creating a separate committee just for creating philosophy, mission, and vision. To bring in an outside consultant to educate the committee on mission and vision statements. And to complete a modified process for creating a mission and vision that could meet the needs of both sides. So let's look a little bit deeper at these options. So having the principal Potter create the mission and vision independently is the first option. The pros of this would be that the visioning and planning committee would be satisfied. That is exactly what they're wanting and asking for, and she would have the ability to preserve the relationships that she has with those committee members. The cons to this one are it doesn't honor her values and her beliefs, and we also wouldn't have even got a consideration of what does the community think? What would they like this school to look like? Without going through the process of that Principal Potter had described, she won't know how the community feels. She'll just be going based off of what her opinion is, and that's a big con. The next option is to complete the mission and vision with a new set of community members. So creating a new set of community members and creating another committee just for vision planning, or the vision planning and mission planning. So this would ensure that you would get community input. It would also ensure that the mission and vision would reflect the beliefs and values of the community. And it would make sure that the principal's values and beliefs could be upheld. The cons are that the relationship between the principal and the visioning and planning committee members would suffer greatly. She would definitely be stepping on their toes, and they could then go back and talk to other community members about it, which would cause a lot of disruption in the community as well.